Hello again, it is I, Dwayne. So I mentioned that I would do a video on how um, retail can manipulate the price upward, primarily using a prop bid. So for this example, I'm going to use ATPT. I don't necessarily think this is a bad stock. The due diligence on it is kind of interesting. It has the CE due to the shell was hijacked by the CEO by somebody else, and he caught on to it, and so now the shell is being operated by its rightful owner. However, I'm choosing ATPT primarily because it has some prop bid action. So this is an alright stock for the most part. The reason we're seeing some prop action is because I believe the price action is a little premature relative to the amount of information that's currently available on the stock. So it could take, maybe a couple months or something in order for the stock to actually develop. But it was pretty heavily preloaded by a group of people. So best way to find examples of props would be to just go to Berkshire Agents iHub. This guy is notorious for the props. He's all over ATPT, and he's this dude props left and right. So that's the reason we're rolling with this one. So here we are in on demand. This is on Friday. So this stock closed pretty hard. You saw a bunch of people like tweeting like, "Oh, ATPT probably going to close strong today." That means a bunch of people were colluding on the fact that they were going to collectively prop this up. But I mean, shit's pretty obvious to figure out. So, anyways, the market just opened. For those who didn't watch my previous video, um, let's look at the 30-minute time frame. So, why 30 minutes? Well, usually each candlestick represents 1 day's worth of price action, but in this case, each candlestick represents 30 minutes. I think this does a really good job of showing the quote unquote story of the stock. So, anyways, for those, the refresher, I did a little bit of updating here. So this is right here. This is a white line's an 8-day exponential moving average. Orange line here is a 13-day exponential moving average. This crossover is a very good indication of a strong upward movement. We're relatively near convergence. Here we got the Pikachu clouds. We got parabolic SAR. Here is an inflection point where it is now becoming bullish. It was bearish here. We got some volume indicator, the stolen ascend enhanced RSI. MACD stochastic momentum overlapped with TTM squeeze. And if we remove this, we have accumulation distribution overlapped with money flow. So accumulation distribution is pretty high. There hasn't been a whole lot of selling. It keeps going up. MACD is near convergence, so we're probably going to have a nice upward trend. So once again, market makers are also involved in here. As they detect an upward movement that is going to come, they will add it to their benefit. However, the prop bid here is primarily done off of retail. So here we're kind of bouncing off this level of support. So first thing to notice right off the bat is the spread here, 0.0020 to 0.0017. So having a spread is essential in order to create an upward movement or a downward movement of a stock. So here we start the day off, great. So here we've got a 5 million bid. This is likely a prop, so it is at 0.0018, and the ask is at 0.0020. So this is a large number of shares. So if you are trying to compete with this person, you want to accumulate shares of ATPT, you're going to have to slide above this. I mean, 5 million is, so if we look at the average day volume, so previous day volume, 30 million, then 21 million, 14 million, 7 million. So this is anywhere from like, you know, uh, 10 to like 33% of a day's volume, which is pretty substantial. First, no one's expecting to fill that much, especially when the price is here. Stock is in flux. You know, there's like, who in the hell would be wanting to buy 5 million of this stock at this price without, not to say it's a bad stock. I actually kind of like ATPT. But given that there are no current financials and it's all running off of speculation, and this stock is being pumped out the ass. The dude I know who runs some Twitter analytics for me, the Oracle, he can't even determine if it's organic or what the origin of the pump is because there's so much going on. It's off the wall. So let's go ahead, run it at 3 times speed. So the spread here, we got another prop. As I mentioned, this was likely a collaborative effort by numerous people. So people who are involved in ATPT or like, and that's why they're like, I bet you it's going to close strong. It's like, yeah, no shit, because all you all are working together to make this happen. So here are the prop bid. So it didn't get pulled. What happened was, so Knight, the person who was the prop bid, probably Berkshire or OCM, one of those guys, was sitting with the bid at 5 million under Knight at 0.0018. Somebody else is then, they fall for the prop bid, so they're trying to get shares, thus they slid above. So that 5 million is still there, it's just not showing. Since right now it's advantageous for the market makers to move the stock upward. So what they would probably try to do is move the stock upward to this Pikachu cloud here, and then maybe tomorrow on Monday we may see some rejection from this region and potentially the 10K shorts, like the CWIR video that I made. So that'd be something to look out for. If you see the 10K shorts and stuff up here, the market makers are going to try to force the stock down. And if that happens, I mean, market makers have more money than you, so like, don't be surprised to see if they succeed. But right at the end of the day, you'll see the as Clay would say, the bulls are very much in control. So they are. So you'll just have to see how the price action goes. Don't let what I'm saying convince you to dump or whatever, because that would be unwise, and you should definitely see how the price action carries through. So let's run at triple speed. So far we haven't actually had any sells yet. So we're 832, blah, blah, blah. Running at triple speed. Everybody should buy some BYOC. The stock is going to have a very exciting week. FRFS is going to have a pretty epic morning tomorrow, to say the least. Come on, let's get some shares. Don't want to jump 10 minutes. Yeah, let's do it. YOLO. Okay, we didn't miss much. Couple slaps. Here, Knight's showing pretty, they're like, oh, it's thin. It's only 10K shares to bust through to 0.0022. So here we got a combination of market makers working the price up with the assistance of retail and the massive prop bid. All right. Still waiting for some fills. What an uneventful morning for this stock. I didn't start picking up until later, but I still want to emphasize a few things that happened in the morning whenever people decide to buy this stock. And another thing that's worth noting right now is the spread is pretty non-existent here, so This is regular. There is no spread. 0.0019 to 0.0020. However, that prop bid under night is still hidden here. So whenever this fills off, that bid will reappear. Okay, getting impatient. Bumping ahead. Boom. Okay. What do we miss? We got a bunch of oh, yep. Okay. So here we got some shares that filled. So here's night again, still with the prop, and the spread is reopened. Here somebody is trying to sell a pretty good number of shares. That could be retail. Not entirely sure. What I personally like to do is, if I've made enough money on a stock and I see that Berkshire is putting this prop bid, sometimes I think it's fun to just dump on him because he bought all these stocks like down here in trips. Dude doesn't want to average up 5 million shares. So a lot of time you'll see whenever there's downward pressure going, they'll pull the prop bid, slide it down a little bit lower just to make sure that it doesn't fill off. Okay, so here we got a little bit more prop action. We're gonna get a little, we're pre-buffering right now. Oh yeah, getting some fill off here. So just to show that, like, since some of this filled, they're like, yo, buddy, can you throw up another prop bid too to show that a lot of people want to buy this stock? So if we fast forward to like, let's go to like the afternoon. So the price has been worked up here. We've been having this slide in. People have been propping, forcing the slide above. Like this is a pretty substantial amount of prop activity. Here we have some good resistance. It's kind of battling with this Ichimoku cloud. It eventually, I believe, it surpassed it by a pretty substantial amount. Dun, dun. Let's fast forward a little bit more. And here the spread is, so this is massive. A lot of this is retail, but a lot of it is also like, who is buying this much of this stock off of a whim? They're trying to show, induce the fear of missing out, showing that, oh, okay, like, you got to compete with me. You just got to keep going above my bid if you're going to try to get shares. Let's skip ahead. Still getting worked up. Now we're seeing some major resistance still in the cloud region. The cloud knows all. This is selling pressure here. This is people wanting out. In the bid, they're just notice that they always keep the prop far enough away that this person's not going to want to dump that far under. So here we slide it up. Now we had a really big prop. And we've got a big spread. So once again, how are you going to compete with that? We've got a little bit of downward pressure. We got to keep it going. Got to slide above. You're almost forced to slap the ask here if you want anything, if you want to get any of these shares. It just keeps going. It just keeps creeping up. And that's how you do it. You just walk. You just walk the bid up. Oh, my bad. That's after close. So here we're 10 minutes out. We're going to go to 5 minutes out. Up a strong 31%. But you know, when people are like, oh, I bet you it closes really strong, it's like, yeah, you're going to get a little bounce off this resistance, but for it to close up 40% off of like essentially nothing. So here now we're getting aggressive. We're really sliding this up. I'm gonna try to force people here to continue to slap the ask, um, and largely it's gonna work. We got more. Let's get into this final minute here. Here's our prop. Pretty massive spread. We're getting a lot of slapping. This is essentially exactly what they wanted. So once again, this isn't necessarily a lesson, just an observation of how retail can work up the price based on making people think that a lot of people want to buy, but really it's just some dude who's got a lot of shares and doesn't want the stock to drop. So he wants people to think that a lot of people are buying. You see this all the time on these fat pig stocks, like SAMP had this going on. AZFL had this going on. Anytime they like, it's good to do on these like trip low pennies because they can put up like, it can be like, oh, like 17 million bid, and that just causes knee jerk reaction out of people to just be like, oh well, um, if I want to compete with it, then I'm gonna have to slide it up. So once again, hopefully maybe you found this somewhat informative. And usual plug, BYOC to the moon. There's a lot of exciting due diligence on the stock, and I encourage everybody to look at it. Also, you can come check out. I am a mod over at the Allegiant Trading Group. We got a bunch of like really, really strong crypto traders there. It's a very good place for those who want to hear my unfiltered opinions, because often I get forced to delete things off Twitter just so people don't ride my ass. But and once again, I don't think ATPT is a bad stock by any means. I just think that the price action is a little bit premature towards the relative number of filings that we have on the stock, and that's why we see this type of price action. So it's just something to, and it's okay to ride this movement like this, but this is how you can get caught chasing. And I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow to see a couple shorts by the market makers to try to induce some downward momentum, since there's not really any news on this stock. So you'll just have to see how it goes. And once again, cats are the best. BVTK is still a diluting piece of shit. That one dude who tried to impersonate me on Twitter, Orange fan, yeah, that was funny. But hope everybody has a good night.